Welcome to PrLet Property Management and Letting Software. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a tenancy agreement, but before I do so, I'm going to add a landlord, property and tenant. So let's begin by creating a landlord. I'm going to maximize the screen, select the type of landlord. In this case, it's a person, and let's give this individual name. Let's call him David Jones. I need to give the landlord the current address. And let's save that entry. Okay, now let's create a property. Again, maximize the screen, select the type of property. It's a residential property, and let's give this property a name, Fortescue House. Also need to add the address. The postal code is quite important here because this determines the longitude and latitude, which helps in terms of mapping the property on a map. I'm going to assign the landlord I've just created, David Jones, and let's save that property. Okay, it's created the property. It's given us a message to say it's successful, but there's an alert. They're saying there's an issue with the entry we just created. So let's go in there and find out what that is. Okay, no EPC provided, which is a statutory requirement. So let's go into the alert. I'm going to change that and give it an A rating, and also turn the concern and issue off. Let's go ahead and save that. And you can see the alerts now disappeared. We can open up the property, and what we see underneath that now is the landlord. So let's go ahead and create the tenant. Again, maximize the screen, the type of tenant, and let's give the tenant a name. Let's choose Karen Smith. Now let's change the number of references and proof of identification to 0, otherwise it will create alerts. And now give the tenant an address. Residential status, renting, let's say 2 years and 1 month. Let's save that. Okay, so now we've got a landlord, we've got a property, we've assigned the property to a landlord, we've got a tenant, so let's now create a tenancy agreement. Again, let's maximize the screen, choose the type of tenancy agreement. It's going to be a short-term tenancy agreement, a fixed term. Select the property we just created and also the landlord. Now the property, when we select the property, the options available for the landlord. And let's assign a tenant. And let's define a rent schedule. I'm going to create 2 entries here. I'll start with an introductory rate, just to show you the flexibility and how powerful this software is. Now, normally I would say it's £1,000 a month payable per month, but I'm going to change that now to £800 a month. And I'm going to select from the beginning of the month again to show you how the alert system works with overdue invoices. I'm going to say that's for 1 month only. And agency commission, let's say it's a property management fee at 20%. And invoice generation, it's 14 days beforehand. Okay, excellent. I'm going to change the tenancy agreement also to the beginning of the month. And let's add another entry, and this is going to be the standard rate. So what we really got is a 6-month contract. The first month is at £800 a month, and then the remaining 5 months are at £1,000 a month. So select period again, where I can just enter the 5-month period. Excellent. Agent commission, and again, property management fee at 20%. Okay, now let's add some additional charges in here and apply this to both the tenant and the landlord. Let's put in an amount of £50 for drafting a lease agreement, and I want to add that to the first invoice. I don't want it as a separate invoice. And save that. Okay, and deposit. Let's add the deposit. Now I've already set up a deposit agency, so I'm going to select DPS and add an amount of £1,500 and again create an invoice. One last thing is conditions. Going to add one condition in there saying no pets, and this will also be included within the tenancy agreement that's created. And let's save that. So we got £800 per month, subject to a 20% management fee, rent of £1,000 a month, and then a £50 charge to both the landlord and tenants. So that's created the tenancy agreement. We know it's overdue because we started the 1st of April, we're now on the 29th. This opens up to the invoices, and this shows us all the invoices for the next 6 months. So the first invoice, that's invoice 3294, shows it's 28 days overdue. It's for a total amount of £2,360, which is the £800 a month. You got the deposit of £1,500 and the £50, which is subject to VAT. Now, the invoices just below that, you'll notice the icon looks like a chain. That's because they're linked to the original invoice. When the first invoice is paid, then the other payments or invoices then become live. And you can see the arrows. You've got the green arrow heading towards the left and the red arrow heading towards the right. Now, just open up the tenancy agreement, and you can see the tenancy agreement is actually being created for you. It includes details of the landlord, the tenant, and also the payment schedule, and all the legal requirements. So let's go back again to the invoices, and what I'm going to do is show you one of the invoices because it creates all the invoices for you. And I'm going to select Create PDF. And this just creates a PDF document which you can send by email or print, and it includes all the details specific to that 1 month. So let's close that and let's go back again. Because I want to illustrate how the payment mechanism works, because as I said before, you've got 2 invoices that are linked to the first invoice. So I'm going to pay that invoice, and you can see how the status has changed. So let's go into the payment. Let's select cash. You notice it's active, but as soon as I put the date the payment is cleared, you will notice the status changed to settle. Let's save that. And if we drill down on the payments, we can see which invoices we paid against. But let's go back to tenancy agreements, because I want to see it from that perspective. Again, maximize the screen. And you see the statuses have changed. The first invoice has been settled, and now you've got the 3 invoices that were changed to the original invoice have now become live. And if we look in our accounts section, the revenue or the profit and loss, okay, let's maximize the screen and let's go down a bit, because that shows us now it's £260 profit from that one specific invoice. But how did it calculate that? Well, it calculated on the basis of not only the revenue that it had received, but also the creditors as well. That is money going out. So it's a fairly useful facility for being able to tell how much money is being made. Okay, and that concludes our tutorial. Please feel free to view the other tutorials on the more complex features available in the software.